Hello, welcome to Me with Margaret. These are opportunities that we create to talk about issues that impact on our lives, our communities, and our families. It's also a platform where we develop conversations. And today I have somebody wonderful with me here. He's going to tell you who he is. But just for you to know, his name is Solomon Bawa. And he will be talking to us about, because we're talking about fathers, we're talking about the ability to listen to our children. So it's a good thing to hear what he has to say from his own experiences. So welcome, Solomon. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah. So who are you, Solomon? Can you tell us a bit about yourself, where you came from, what you're doing now, and yeah.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm Solomon Bawa. And I'm an educator, and that has been my aspiration even growing up. Presently, I'm a lecturer teaching at one of the top universities in the world, and I enjoy impacting people through education, and that's been my passion. And growing up, I came from Nigeria, and I have been educating people within my colleagues and those below me, and it's a great opportunity to actually be in one of the prestigious university and educating young minds. Wow. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Okay. And you're also a father?
Yeah, I'm a father, happily married, a father of two.
Wow. You said something here. I'm going to pick on two words you used. You said your passion and your aspiration to do what you're doing now. Do you want to say more about, because people growing up in Africa, in Nigeria, do you think, how did that come about? Were you supported to do that, or was it just you doing that yourself?
Yeah, I have passion for impacting knowledge, and that was evident even right from my secondary school days. Yes, I love mathematics, and people struggle with mathematics. So in the class, the teacher will come and teach, and many people are confused. Then after the break, during break, I'll just go to the board, I will reiterate what was taught, and a lot of people get to understand. And I have what we call mathematics clinic. So weekends, I welcome people home, free of charge. I teach them this as far back as junior secondary school class. And that is why growing up, I knew that I want to be a lecturer. And today I'm a lecturer. So I started right from young ones. Even in church, I like teaching. So I've been involved actively in teaching in the community. I also involved in teaching, especially people that goes to the public schools and they don't have maybe good teachers. So I always have weekends. I organize them, do them free classes at home. I have a board. Then I teach them for free. So that's where the passion actually originated from. And it's born out of, I was helped also.
Were helped?
Yes, most of the coppers that come, because I went to a boarding house, so most of those that come for NYSC, so mostly I engage with them and they teach me. And the good thing is that even when I was in JS3, I represented my school for SS mathematics quiz competition. And when I was before finishing JS3, I finished the syllabus of SS1 and SS2. And this is because of people that helped me. They were ready to actually offer me help. And that is one of the things that drove my passion. Hence, I was helped. It's an opportunity also for me to help others.
So let's come back to home, because you were helped by corpus, by people around you. What about your father? What was your father's input in your development, in your growing up, in your education? Were you able to speak to him about your dreams? And did he hear that? Did he support that?
Yeah, my father was actually supportive. So he was a pastor, and at the end of the month, they usually do some kind of monthly meeting where they reconcile accounts. So I always helped him because he knew I was good in adding up numbers. And he always boasts about it, and he also tried to help me to ensure that I go to the good schools. And especially I have this challenge of primary school that I attended 5 primary schools from nursery to primary 6. Why? Because he was transferred from one church to the other. And so that terminates my growth of education. So that is why he ensured that from JSS, I attended a boarding house. So with the boarding house, wherever they transfer him to, I don't need to change schools. And that is how I went to 2 boarding schools, one for junior and one for secondary school. So he was so supportive. And I have the flair for extramural classes. So he ensured that he engaged teachers to teach me and also foot the bills to go to. So he was really supportive. I think from his perspective, he wanted me to become an accountant because I helped him add numbers. But I prefer to solve problems.
And how did that pan out? Because, we're talking about Can You Hear Me? The title of the book I've written is Can You Hear Me? And it looks at the fact that many times, why I'm asking this question is that we have a lot of young people that we know, because from what you said now, Nigerians are passionate about education.
Yeah.
Go to university, go this. And then some of our young people that are being brought up in this country, they don't feel that it's for them. But some parents are insisting that you must do this if you don't do this, So it's been a bit of a challenge. And when young people say, but you're not listening to me, that's not. Did you experience that, or if not in education, but in other areas of your life?
Yeah, so one good thing with my father is that he has his view and he wants to hear your perspective.
Okay.
So yes, he listened that he said, okay, you're good in numbers. If I give you, sometimes he gives me money and it's not complete. He deliberately do that to see how I'm able to come up with those numbers, and I'm always precise and accurate. Yeah. So, sometimes in Nigeria, when you're good with money, say you become an accountant, you have to go to the bank and work. Yeah. But my own perspective is that I love to solve problems and I hate routine. Doing something consistently over and over again. And that is one of the things that happen, especially when you go to the banking sector. If you're in a particular section, that's where you be. So that is not what I love. So I have to say, okay, I love solving problems. And as an engineer, which I am, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. You don't know what will be the issue. And at the spot, you need to solve that problem. And that is what playing with numbers is one of the yardsticks that you need to be good at. So yeah, he speak out, this is his own notion, this is what he wants me to be, but he also respect and listening to my opinion and my own line of argument. And that is why from JS3, I needed to choose, I'm going to commercial class or science class. So if I was going to go to the accounting, it's commercial class. We're going to, for engineering, it's science class. So at the end, I'm not convinced that, I can go to science class. And then, at least it gives me that sense of fulfillment, that have a dad that could listen to my perspective of what I want to do. So rather than being authoritative and strict to kind of this idea, but he was kind of a guidance to say, okay, this and this and this. So he just kind of served the role of a role of a guardian rather than a kind of authoritative decision.
Do you think that your father is what I think from what you've just told me that he's 1 in a million, because not every father is like that. Have you seen that with other fathers or other friends in terms of their parents? Do you want to throw more light on that? Because you were just fortunate to have a father that listened, that could hear you, that could hear your heartbeat and support you. But do you think every father's like that? Could you want to give some examples?
Absolutely no, because I was fortunate to live in a house where it's a compound house, where you have up to 10 families. So there are children that immediately they see their father coming from afar off, they're off. Even if they are not feeling asleep, they'll have to force themselves to sleep because of that fear. There's no relationship. It's a kind of when somebody, like a lion has come. And some children actually also, it affected their performance because fortunately enough, all of us went to the same school. So you could see different level of performance, which translates from the relationship between the father and the children. Like when my father is coming back, I'm happy that he's coming back because I know there was something in the back. There's something in the bag. So I'm the second. I'm the second child. So our firstborn is deaf and dumb. So I'm the second born and second son. So I could see that they struggle to maintain relationship, and that translates to even their performance in school. Because when during holiday, they are panicking, how will I come back home? Because they have done very bad. It's going to be another discipline, but ask, what are the resources provided for them? They don't have the textbooks, they don't have the workbook, they don't put them in extramural lessons, they don't get the teaching, and the relationship is sad. So it's a kind of, you just go and make it happen without no tools. But in my own case, go and make it happen. These are the tools, and this is the guy. So there's actually a mix. I've seen people, I've related with people that even, they don't even talk about their parent, their father. You even think as if they're orphans, but it's because there's not a good relationship with that. So, and what does that mean? They are not being heard. They have issues, but nobody wants to give the listening ears. So even when they come and discuss, okay, why don't I discuss with your father? He won't listen. He won't, before I even finish explaining, he's shouting on me. So they get scared, intimidated, and that is why, sorry to say, it's unfortunate that most of them go into drugs, because they are not being heard at home. They have to go out and defer some friends, and unfortunately some people went into robbery, and sad to say some of them are already dead now because they were shot in the act. So why? They had a feeling, they had issues, but there's no listening here. Nobody is there to hear them. So they went out, and unfortunately they fall into the wrong hands, because those people were ready to listen to what they have to say, and they influence them negatively. Yeah, so it's really so sad.
It's so sad. So, well, I'm so glad to hear that you've had a good relationship with your father. So how does that impact on you bringing up your two lovely children here? How do you think it's translated into that? They are still young, but
Yeah.
tell us how do you feel about it, especially being in another country and looking at the system, and how do you make that work?
Yeah, so just to say that, yes, that's why I have good relationship with my father, but my mother was still also. He always say, "Oh, you love your mother, mommy. Oh, your mommy boy. Yeah, your mommy boy." Because yeah. But that relationship is, now one thing I've discovered, three things are very important, just even as little as they are. That time, and listening to them, acting like them. It's very important. There was a day that my first son, when he was just 1 year, 6 months, about 1 year, about a year. So he was going towards the steps, crawling. Then I was crawling also with him. So he was, you could see the excitement in his, but daddy can walk on the stairs, but he's doing like me. So one good thing I try to do is, sometimes we can be caught up in the activities of life, in the community, in the society as fathers, and we literally don't have time for our children. So one thing I usually do as much as possible to create time. Yeah, sometimes I come back, I'm tired, but at least sometimes when I come, despite I have something to do, I leave the laptop in the bag and try to relate with them, know how has it been, and because they have been with mom from this morning, so they want to change a kind of direction. So I try to create that atmosphere to play with them, discuss, even as little as they are, they want to also to give them the listening ears. Just say, "Daddy, do you hear what I'm saying?" If I don't pay attention, he will not shake me. Do you hear what I'm saying? And mostly it's on weekends. I try not to put any activities in weekend, just to give them that time. Even as simple as going to the garden and we play football. That's fine. We go out with the scooter and say, "Let's move around." So as little as that, because I've discovered that one thing that helped me is that I was being listened to, I was being heard, and I was given opportunity and time to move. I was giving that attention. So that is what I try to do, to translate, to give them that attention, not to be caught up in the web of activities. And the result that, because I've seen those children that were not given much time, how it's translated to
You've seen both worlds, so you can see how that impacts.
Yeah.
This is so interesting. And thank you so much for sharing. If there's some advice you'd like to give to the viewers out there, particularly fathers, as we celebrate Father's Day that is coming up very soon, and what advice would you like to? Could you just let them know?
Yeah, so one good advice I want to give fathers is that, please, I know one of your responsibility is to cater for the family, but don't be caught in the web of much activity that you don't have time for your children. You don't have time for the family. Because sometimes your child wants to play with you, he wants to speak to you, but he has not seen a friendly atmosphere. You don't have time, you are busy, because we know the reflection of the community is what happens in the family, what happens at home. And the fathers have a lot of responsibility to ensure that when you listen to your children, they will not be influenced negatively by the society or by other friends out there. So I really want to advise fathers that your time, give your children the necessary time, give your family the necessary time that is needed, and give them listening ears. Just as I've said previously, some children, because they were not given listening ears, they were not being heard, they have gone to join bad company that actually ruined their life. But we have seen children that were given listening ear, they were being heard, and they have lived their dream. And I am one of the examples of such.
There's this issue about education from Nigerians. What advice would you give to fathers, especially in terms of education in this country? Because there are different pathways to being who you need to be as a young person. What advice would you also give to fathers in terms of, must they do what you want? Must they go to university? Must they? Could you please let our listeners, what's your take on that?
Yes, based on that, please, as fathers, don't enforce the will of, I want my child to be a medical doctor, I want my child to be a lawyer. Yes, it's good to give them the basic foundation. Just as what counselor does, they don't take decision for you. They only give you the pros and cons between different alternatives and different potential solutions, and then you pick the best. And if you give ample time to your children, you can discover some of the things that they are good at. And those things they are good at does not translate to any a particular skill or a particular profession. It opens a template of several professions. Like, for example, if you see someone who is good in solving problems, you want to become an engineer, we have a lot of different engineering fields. So I would advise fathers, just direct them, support them, and most importantly, I'm still repeating, give them the listening ear, hear their ideas, and then encourage them to live their dreams and do whatever is within your reach to ensure they are educated and they follow the path which they will choose to follow with all your support.
Solomon, thank you. I've learned so much from you today, and I really appreciated that. If every father could hear this, I think it would have, because tradition and culture, they impact on how, especially even fathers and their husbands and their wives or spouses, it impacts. But thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you with us today. Thank you so much to Solomon Bawa. He's a lecturer at one of the top universities in the United Kingdom. But next time we'll hear somebody else that will have so many nuggets to share. So thank you for watching Me with Margaret. I'll see you next time. Share, like, and subscribe.